And it's also a way of organizing complex adaptive societies. That's what really got me interested in. I've been very interested in social tokens and NFTs for community as the new business model. And it creates a wholly different dynamic when you have combined network effects between your consumers or your network of users and yourself or your business.
And Bitcoin as a financial investment has been extremely fruitful to early Bitcoin people, right? But with the exception of, and it's funny because the Bitcoin maxi narrative has been in some ways hijacked.
These two fields are the only ones that are multiplying at a genuine exponential rate: technology and cryptocurrency. If you fail to receive this, you run the risk of missing out on the most revolutionary wealth transfer that the modern era has ever witnessed. Is the most important point that Raoul Pal, the CEO of Real Vision, delivered. He warns that the legacy system, which is founded on debt, aging demographics, and sluggish development, is crumbling under its own weight, whereas the new system, which is propelled by artificial intelligence, blockchain, and network effects, is accelerating with an irresistible force. It is safe to say that this split is among the most significant macro configurations that have ever been seen. The window of opportunity is extremely narrow, and if you hesitate, you can miss out on the most significant investment wave that we have ever seen in our lifetime. This transition is occurring at a speed that few people can grasp, and Pal explains why this is happening and how you should position yourself before the door crashes shut.
Yeah, look, it makes total sense. It's a very similar journey to my own. It was 2012. I probably saw it in 2011. 2012, I started properly digging into it. And I come through the lens of almost losing the European banking system after we'd almost lost the global banking system in 2008. And I realized very quickly that Bitcoin itself was interesting, but the blockchain itself was going to offer a whole lot of solutions to some of the huge problems in the world. And one of the big problems was ownership. And I started immediately, I was good friends with Emil Woods and Chad Cascarilla, and they got me across the line very quickly in terms of this. And then, okay, well, what you can start to put on the blockchain, what's relevant and what's not, as you said, that journey was a journey where I realized, like you, that it was okay that in 2014, 15, there weren't that many applications because we knew they'd come. It was just a matter of when. And yeah, I think your journey is super interesting because it's your mixed background gives you, that it gives you a massive advantage in this space. I was not a technologist. I had to get up some of the curve of that. I was a finance guy, but you having that mixed background must have been a huge help. So 18 months ago, NFTs, which we all knew about, any of us have been around the space for a while, we knew about, but it kind of came in a different format than many of us first thought. I kind of thought it might be through property or some sort of other form of IP, but it didn't. Talk me through that realization when the world suddenly changed again.
Well, as with Bitcoin, but even more so, NFTs was a two-part process. The 2017, oh yeah, look at this, oh, that's interesting. Okay, anyway, this is goofy. Let's get back to the real work of, making smart contracts or what we're doing, right? Like this was
a distraction.
I didn't get it the first time.
Yeah.
All right. It goes on just like Bitcoin 11 goes on the L list, NFTs 2017 goes on the L list. I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I wasn't opposed to it. I wasn't a right-click save as. I was like, well, okay, that's fun, but not particularly important, right? So something like that was the first go-around. And it wasn't until, I can't tell you exactly what the trigger was. I don't remember now, but I remember towards the end of 2020, I started getting that spidey sense. And I started harassing all of my crypto friends, including some who are just true crypto OGs. And I'm like, I think there's something important here. And they're like, no, it's stupid, right? It's cartoons, right? It's, let's look at this new blockchain that does whatever, right? And I'm saying, okay. And then I'd wait a month, and then it was still nagging at me. And then finally I said, I need to spend time on it. Like, it's bothering me. And I thought, let's go buy some NFTs. And the very first NFT I bought was like 0.01 ETH or something, right? It was just like, let me just buy the cheapest NFT I can buy on OpenSea and see how I feel. I was like, oh, that was interesting. That was fun. Let me buy another one. Well, okay, that feels pretty good. Let me buy another one. And then I started bringing.
Hold on, before we go
friends.
on, what the hell were you buying, and why did it appeal?
Random.
And why did it appeal to you?
Random. I literally said, like, okay, like, I learn by doing. That's my, I have a gut, and then I don't believe people can understand anything without doing it, right? And I think one of the huge gaps we have with traditional system people and with regulators, they've never done it. And so, like, their image of what Bitcoin is, their image of what Web3 is, their image of what NFTs are, is this wholly distorted image. So I didn't know if I wanted to invest in NFTs, and I just wanted to, like, spend some time. So I just went up. I don't even remember what the first one was. Like, it was some pixelated character, because of course it was, but it was the furthest thing from an important collection, right? Like, it was not, let's go buy Grail NFTs. It's, let me play around in OpenSea for a bit. And what started happening was the following. And this was a very new experience. As I would grab a friend of mine, a family member, and would say, hey, let's try this. Pick something, I'll buy it. Here, set up a MetaMask. I'll send it to you and send it back to me. What I realized within a month, this is crypto's consumer moment. It is a well-known truism in technology that technologies become consumerized when you stop talking about the technology. I had spent 8 years trying to convince people of the joys of decentralization. The whole time, I've had this thought in the back of my mind of, like, I know this is wrong. I can't tell you why it's wrong, but I know it's wrong because I'm talking about the Byzantine general's problem. I know it's wrong because we're discussing the differences between how Solana reaches consensus and how Ethereum reaches consensus. And of course, I personally find it very interesting, but this is nerd stuff, right? This is not consumer stuff.
No.
Though one of the ways I think about it, Instagram uses, I'm sure, Python and machine learning and cloud computing and routers and servers, but no one in the history of the world said, hey, you should use this cool Instagram app. It uses Python, right? That's not how consumer tech works.
No.
And what I noticed for the very first time in crypto, here we were absolutely using decentralized rails, true crypto, Ethereum, right? Web3 applications. And we weren't talking about the tech except for the basic kind of ramp up curve to, like, here's how MetaMask works, right? Once we got past that, it was, oh, this one's cool. That's one cool. I want the one with a silly hat. I want this photograph. Oh.
We are humans after all.
Correct. But that's tech in and of itself isn't interesting, right? Tech is interesting to meet human needs, right? And so I was like, oh, wow, this is it. This is the positive way to say it. The classic way to say it is this is how crypto consumerizes. The kind of inside baseball way to think about it, this could be a Trojan horse for decentralized rails, right? We know this 8 years in, no one cares about decentralization per se. And I say this, and it's a harsh statement, but it's true.
It's true.
Cryptocurrency has emerged as a financial lifeline for younger generations during the year 2016. But older generations are struggling to adjust to a new reality. This is because younger generations are being crushed by inflation and stagnated possibilities. The concept of a exponential age became prevalent by the year 2020. This is an era that is characterized by the rapid acceleration of technologies, which is powered by advancements in artificial intelligence such as ChatGPT. because of this velocity. We are moving closer and closer to an economic singularity around the year 2030, which is a tipping point at which traditional financial institutions will no longer work. As a result of demographic decline, stagnant productivity, and increasing debt, central banks' interest rates, and government levers are losing their hold on the situation. In the event that this revolution occurs, wealth will not merely be transferred, rather, it will transform into an altogether new representation. Those who are unable to adjust, they will be left behind, while those who are in a position to adapt will be the ones who own the future.
I think if you went and checked, even the large majority of Twitter/crypto/Silicon Valley thought leaders on decentralization have the majority of their crypto in like Coinbase custody or something, right? Which means like everyone's LARPing, right? Everyone. You can't say I care about decentralization and say, oh, I am the third-party custodian. The threat model is exactly the same as being at JP Morgan. There's no difference.
No.
That is, Bitcoin is a financial investment, not Bitcoin as a different way to organize things.
Yeah.
Right? And Bitcoin as a financial investment has been extremely fruitful to early Bitcoin people, right? But with the exception of, it's funny because the Bitcoin maxi narrative has been in some ways hijacked relative to what it is in my mind, right? Like the maxi narrative is that, the today maxi narrative is that all other coins are scams and we have to all eat steaks or something, right? Like that.
Oh yeah.
That's not the Bitcoin maxi narrative. The Bitcoin maxi narrative is you need to run your own node.
Yeah.
You need to be self-sovereign. You need to do the education to learn how to be responsible for yourself, right? And those OG Bitcoiners, I have infinity respect for because they're the only ones who are actually doing it.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of people who say, oh, this is why Bitcoin's a good investment, but none of them are actually doing this. And it's interesting, I'll flag this because it'll be interesting as we get through the rest of this. Up until late last year, and I think this is shocking to some people who, including some Bitcoiners who come across my feed and then, I can't believe he's buying monkey photos or something. What is this guy? Right? I was close to, from a portfolio allocation perspective, a year and a half ago, close to a Bitcoin maxi. It has been through 8 years of altcoins, ICOs, other things, about the only thing that has gotten me to sell Bitcoin is NFTs. Which is interesting. I flagged that. Of interest. So, consumerization. Now, consumerization has another aspect to it. The first aspect is that people like it and it's not about technology. The second aspect that's very, very different is that every organization on the planet has an incentive to mint an NFT. So I was in and around NFT NYC. I didn't go to the conference for obvious reasons, but I was around. And I went to the Dolce & Gabbana party. And the interesting thing, that was the most interesting thing about the conference, because specifically there was a Dolce & Gabbana party. I've been to many crypto conferences. Dolce & Gabbana does not show up to Ethereum conferences.
No.
Right? I also assume, I'm not sure, but I assume Dolce & Gabbana does not throw parties at Cisco Network Administrator conferences either.
I somewhat doubt it.
Right. Why would they? But NFTs can represent anything and everything. And anything and everything also includes Dolce & Gabbana dresses. And Dolce & Gabbana has an incredible brand equity. They have a customer base. And so they can monetize that with a 90-something% gross margin product, as they did. And as they should have. And Nike bought Artifact, Adidas did their drop. We're going to have every single fashion lifestyle company issue NFTs in the coming months and years. It will then roll over to the consumer packaged goods companies. You'll have a QR code on your 6-pack of Coke. You'll scratch it, you'll get an NFT. Why? Because then they can directly airdrop you a coupon for the 2-to-1 sale. They know you bought it in Atlanta. They know who bought that Coke can. They know if you've used the coupon. They're not going to put in the classified newspaper, the inset, like we'll move to the 21st century, right? Universities will do it for their alumni base. Sports teams will do it for their fans. Eventually, in the fullness of time, you'll be in the local barbecue pitmasters club, and you'll get the like barbecue master of the month NFT in your wallet, right? So everyone's coming. Over the course of the decade, everyone is going to have many, many NFTs. And I think it's important to note here, the average NFT in your wallet is not going to be a Grail Fidenza or whatever. It's going to be something closer to your Chipotle coupon card. But it doesn't matter. Like, these two things mean there will be widespread adoption unless something goes wrong, which we'll talk about in the later section. So thesis one, it's a consumer application.
And it's also a way of organizing complex adaptive societies. That's what really got me interested in it. I've been very interested in social tokens and NFTs for community as the new business model. And it creates a wholly different dynamic when you have combined network effects between your consumers or your network of users and yourself or your business.
Raoul Pal cautions that the remaining 6 years constitute the most crucial investing window that we will ever experience in our lifetimes. In light of the fact that there are only two inexorable engines of growth left, technology and blockchain, he observes that the adoption of blockchain is outperforming every previous asset. While the acceleration of artificial intelligence is even quicker, it is impossible for regulators to contain the momentum because it is so enormous, and because these systems are borderless. They will continue to develop regardless of the political obstacles they face. This change, according to Pal, is unavoidable. The financial system will undergo a transformation, and along with it, the fundamental definition of wealth will be altered. In order to ensure not only financial advantages, but also resilience and quality of life in the years leading up to the 2030s. He strongly encourages individuals to make use of this window of opportunity to invest both capital and talents. This new era, the community itself, will become the anchor of value as artificial intelligence and automation unleash a major deflationary shock, driving individuals and businesses alike to adjust to the rapidly changing environment. Whether you are positioning yourself now or waiting until it is too late is the only issue that has to be answered.